Hang on wait lang, i-message ko na ang aming panauhing pandangal.
Are we live? We're live na. Good afternoon mga Kapix Pro. It's Friday na naman. With us is VP Alex and of course the entire team of TRENDMICRO. Good morning. Good afternoon po. Headed by the very beautiful, very fresh, kahit punong-puno ng meeting yan maghapon, Miss Naomi. Hi, Miss Naomi.
Hello, magandang hapon sa inyo. Magandang hapon mga Kapix Pro. Hi.
Finally,
So happy
TRENDMICRO.
to be
Ang tagal na to.
I know.
Ang tagal nating sinet.
Yeah, so Arlene,
Yes
VP
po.
Alex, introduce ko lang syempre yung aking
Sure po.
nagagandahan at poging mga kasama sa for today's kwentuhang cybersecurity. But of course, we have our special speaker from the region. We're just Mikey. But anyway, while waiting for him, I would like to introduce my colleague. Of course, one of that is Ms. Micaela or Mikey Melencio, is the marketing manager. Is always supportive with me and then with all of the initiatives. So Mikey is a very important it's very important for me and then for all in supporting all of the initiatives of Pix Pro. And of course, my ever pretty and beautiful and napakagaling na SE, si Jessica Bernardo. And I have also invited here one of our technical account manager, Angelico or Gil Spirito. So he handles the premium support of customers of TRENDMICRO in the Philippines. So
hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Of course. And Mikey, I can see Muthu. But of course, yeah, Arlene, I think you'll be the one who will initiate the introduction, right?
Yeah. With ano po, okay lang po, antayin natin, medyo padamihin po muna natin ang ating mga viewers.
Sige,
nakita
ba namin
yan? Tayo.
How
yes,
can
good afternoon mga Kapix Pro, i-monitor ko lang po kung ilan na tayo. By the way, Miss Naomi, requirement ba sa TRENDMICRO na kailangan magaganda at gwapo? Bakit ganon?
Ay, ganon?
Ganon, nagaganda at ang gwapo ng... Siguro ang lakas maka-fresh at TRENDMICRO, hindi ganon ka-stressed.
Eka, sagutin mo
yan. Hindi
ganon
ka-stressed. Ganon po ba? Oh.
Nakakahawa kasi yung account manager namin, ma'am. Kaya ganyan. Yung freshness ng account manager talaga yung...
Ang lakas maka-pandemic sa ganda. At
saka saan mo gusto, ililibre kita mamaya. May
pakape ba dyan, Miss Naomi?
Sige, gagawa ko ng ibang session para dyan Okay, sorry.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I just finished the radio interview right now in Singapore, so back to live again.
Hi, Muthu.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, magandang hapon mga Kapix Pro. Friday na naman. Very interesting itong topic niyo, Miss Naomi and team for today's KC. Very timely, I must say. Especially now with what is happening with the cybersecurity landscape, the cybersecurity environment in the Philippines. And we are very fortunate to have Mr. Muthu here as one of our speakers from TRENDMICRO. So, asa lang ating, let's check our live. So, kamusta naman po ang ating weekday so far? Mukhang hindi kayo na-stress. Ang fresh pa rin, pero alam ko maraming meeting.
Yes.
Tapos si Miss Naomi, yung tumag-ring, ang phone pa rin. Super duper busy. So, kamusta naman po?
Diyan tayo nabubuhay, no? Muthu, you can understand what we're saying, right? You have been in the Philippines for how many years? So I believe, or I think some of the Filipino dialects or some of the Filipino
language, I can hear that. You guys, she was saying that restless since the morning for this event, getting ready and prepared. Yeah.
See?
Make that idea out.
You can very well understand the language and the culture. So Filipinos are very talkative and they're very pretty. That's why we have kwentuhang cybersecurity always. So kamusta naman po TRENDMICRO? How are you faring so far for the last 5 days? Sobrang busy po ba?
Siguro sa amin, very busy talaga. Kasi kay Naomi pa lang, busy na ako
Pinapahirapan mo daw, Miss Naomi.
Sobrang kulit yan.
Wag mo naman sasabihin dito.
Huwag mo ibuo.
Marami.
Ay, ganun ba? Sige, sige.
Nalalaman, Arlene, kung ilan yung nandito. Lagot tayo dito. Eka.
I'm checking. Miss Len, ilan ang ating viewers? Nako, mga Kapix Pro natin mukhang nakatutulog pa.
So, nandito yung isang ating kaibigan na yun. Si Albert. Ewan ko lang kung nasa na si Albert ngayon. Betong, thank you for watching. Ha?
Thank you, sir.
Oh.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Siya yung sa pre-sale.
Good afternoon,
guys.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Wait din po pala natin si Mr. Chair, ang ating Chairman Angel Redoble. He will be joining us later. Siyempre, hindi pa lalagpasin to kasi ang ganda ng topic natin for today. And what else? So yun po, last week, we had a golf for a Coast tournament. Hindi nga lang ata nakasama si Miss Naomi kasi sobrang busy niyan. May engagement din sila. But Sir Ian of TRENDMICRO was there. Some of your the TRENDMICRO team was there. So sobrang thankful po kami sa inyo kasi from the very beginning, hindi nyo kami talaga binibitiwan sa PIX Pro. At meron pa tayong susunod, the certification program.
Yep. Looking forward kami doon. So we're always happy, or we're always supportive to PIX Pro's initiative, no? So in whatever ways that we can support, we're always here. So yeah.
So ano naman po ang mga latest with TRENDMICRO? What are your current initiatives in cybersecurity aside from, of course, syempre teaming up with PIX Pro with our programs, with our current projects and endeavors?
Mikey, regularly we have trainings, no? So we have trainings here sa Trend Lab. So I would like to share. So I would like to take this opportunity, the TRENDMICRO. So TRENDMICRO is a global company, right? But so it has like 7,000 global employee, but 2,000 of that are Filipinos. So TRENDMICRO is a Filipino pride. So we're very happy that TRENDMICRO is investing in Filipino talent. They believe in Filipino what you call this. They believe in Filipinos' capability, the passion of Filipinos, the courage, the determination. That's why they're investing here and expanding their presence here in the Philippines. So they've been here for like is it 12 years, Mikey, or more?
More than 12 years. I think around 20 years already for Trend Labs.
Yes.
So for our endeavors here in the Philippines, with the help of with Trend Labs, so Trend Labs, their goal is to continue educating the Filipinos about cybersecurity. So that's their main goal. So as we all know, may kakulangan, diba? We have may kulang tayo ng cybersecurity manpower. So yun yung advocacy ng TRENDMICRO actually and Trend Labs to have more more people in the cybersecurity field.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
We are teaming up with you rin on that endeavor, hopefully with our certification program. Kaya nga nung nilobby namin ito with TRENDMICRO, very excited talaga kayo to collaborate with us because the goal is to create more cybersecurity professionals here in the country because we have so much talents among the Filipinos, especially the generation of the youth of today. Sobrang daming promising. And we think at this early TRENDMICRO for your continuous support, and hopefully by the time we finish the program, actually hindi siya matatapos I don't think it's na matatapos yung program because the need for cybersecurity professionals is perpetual, like what our chairman always say, forever ang need yan. So hopefully this is the start.
Yep.
This is only the beginning of our broad partnership with TRENDMICRO. So ilan na po ba tayo with our viewers? Maybe should we start, PP Alex?
Yeah, we could. For that, we have a very, very interesting topic, no? So eksakto to kasi right now there are a lot of hacking happening here in the Philippines, diba? So I would not name, but alam nyo na yung mga nangyari recently. So definitely those were hacked. So kahit ano pa sabihin nila, so I believe those were hacked, no? And yung topic natin for today is very timely because TRENDMICRO will discuss, mga ka-PIX Pro, yung cyber threats and yung mga effective countermeasures to be this. So not only for the corporate or organizations who are here, but maybe you could also share dun sa mga common na mga viewers natin na nasa bahay, because all of us are affected by cybersecurity, no matter what, if you are just a person at home, you are in the office, or anywhere you are, because basically everyone is a target now in cybersecurity. Siguro we introduce our guest speaker now. 𝐼𝐮𝐿, I turn over back to you.
Yes, VP Alex, it would be an honor to introduce one of the best speakers and experts of TRENDMICRO for this topic. With us today is Sir Muthu Natarajan. He is a designated director for XDR Business in Southeast Asia and India. So Sir Muthu here has a wealth of 18 years experience in various cybersecurity technology consultancy with the C-level executives to help drive business outcomes to organizational initiatives. So as one of the speakers and one of the think tanks for the TRENDMICRO and other cybersecurity companies, he spearheads cybersecurity projects with complex architecture designs for organization team members to focus more on driving business values. So for this case, for our Kwentuhang Cybersecurity this Friday, we will learn more about cyber threats, how to counter that, and as ordinary Filipinos, whether you are a cybersecurity expert or just a Filipino who delves on cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is everybody's business. Marami tayong matututunan with Sir Muthu. So Sir Muthu, may we leave the floor with you, and we hope to learn from you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the session. So great pleasure to be here. So as you said, cybersecurity became a serious business, and it directly equate to a business risk. So if businesses, they are not ready and prepared to handle the cyber attacks in the next 12 months and so on and so forth, it's going to affect them very badly there in terms of business operations. But again, in terms of consumers, people like you and me, there are organized cyber criminals who are actually going after, phishing attacks, human factors, trying to get those, of course, the money motivated, trying to hack your banking accounts, your private credit credentials, sold them in a black market, and so on and so forth. So cybersecurity is a broad topic. It applies to everybody today. So what I'm going to share today is basically on what do we see in terms of something more a business angle, but we can actually bring in a personal angle as well, how we can actually have a best practices for ourselves when we use online bankings and clicking on specific links and so on and so forth. Let me quickly share the slide that we want to discuss today. Okay. Just sorry, just give me 1 minute. There you go. So I think for the enterprises, we talk about cyber threats and how we can effectively handle them for the enterprises, and we can actually bring in the discussion of consumers and peoples and so on and so forth. So it's quite complex today for many organizations having digital transformation going on. Every business today try to capture the new customers. That's an ongoing thing. We want to have new customers, reach new markets. So we push the organization digital transformation as part of business perspective. But usually at many organizations, cybersecurity is not part of the embedded process. Sometimes it takes maturity to get it there. With the legacy systems and different cloud security vendors, moving them up to the cloud will leave a lot of vulnerabilities open for attackers to take advantage of it. You guys hear me okay, or do you want me to speak a little louder? Okay.
We can hear you.
No, we're hearing you clear.
Loud and clear, sir.
Fantastic. Just confirming. So, and plus with all the use cases of working from home, the hybrid work architecture, people working from home, it's high chances the attackers may target those users who are working from home, their identity in terms of logins, emails, and so on and so forth. So we will broadly see how we did a survey with a lot of IT directors across a few regions. You can see from the PPT, North America, Europe, and APAC, and Latin America as well. And when we did the surveys, interestingly, in APAC region, 82% of the IT directors come back and said, based on the preparedness they have to handle the cyber, there are high chances they may get compromised in some form in next 12 months. That could be ransomware, that could be business email compromise, that could be any way that could impact the business operation. So it clearly says the speed the attackers are innovating, the speed the attackers are moving in terms of adapting new tools, new techniques, new tactics. It's at the speed that the organization really have to keep up with, evolve into adapting new tools, training the users, educating the users, and how those attacks that's targeting them. Of course, having the preparedness in place. So if we look at the cyber risk index, how do we actually operate it, and how do we say the type of index that can affect the organization? Or even personally, you can take this analogy and apply personally as well. You can see in terms of data risk, there is some part of data which is intellectual property that you cannot have to get a link to your competitors and so on and so forth. Especially recently, I think just yesterday, there was a breach in Singapore where one of the law agency lost their customer data, including their customer data, including the IC registration numbers and so on and so forth, through a vulnerability and bypass of different attacking groups. So that could be your data, it could be your customer data, that could potentially affect your business reputation as well. And in terms of personal users, I mean, our identity in terms of your national ID cards, the licenses, the credit cards, each of these personal data also have a market value in the dark web. People still steal it and sell it in the dark web as well. So IT operation risks, moving from home, working from home, these enterprises are ready to handle those IT operations with the most operation hygiene fashion, or security operation hygiene fashion. And of course, the human risk. Are we educating our employees? Like in Singapore, there's also, I think it's pretty much there in the APAC region, the QR code scam is pretty common. We walk into many shops, you can pay with the QR code. See, the objective of QR code is to say, we don't want to keep a link. So people may just, target the link. So they will put a QR code. So when you scan them, as a security sense, it will take you to a different link, then you make your payment there. So that links are getting that QR codes, and it's common. I guess it's common in Philippines as well. But the scammers, they change the QR code. So people try to access the QR code. They may get to a specific website, have a software installed, start stealing their credentials, and so on and so forth. It affects the consumers at the same time. It affects the businesses who actually put a QR code. To extend, right? Recently, there's pamphlets around. I live in Singapore. They actually give a pamphlet with a specific company logo and say, "Come for a free health check." One of the residents took it and escalated in Singapore, saying, "Hey, this is a spam. Somebody's trying to hack my personal identity." In fact, that's actually a personal health, a real legitimate health check process. So it's affecting business as well as the consumers. And the infrastructure risk, plus the top 5 risks we can see that could affect potentially for this year. We'll discuss in the later part of the slide. We also help our organization, for example, in terms of enterprises and organization. How ready are they to say handle the attack in next 12 months? As we see in majority of the CISO respondents, say 82% said they may have something. So it's good. The organizations are prepared to handle the cyber risk. So there are a list of checklists that you can go through. It depends on the various attack vectors, how much you can evaluate yourself in terms of handling the cyber attack. There is a link we can share with you after this. It's a free checklist. You can fill it in and you can verify how much is your enterprise risk score, your cyber risk index for your enterprises in order to handle the next cyber attack that targets your organization. In terms of threats, we can say, I've just picked up a few key threats that potentially affect the enterprises and businesses as well. That threats will amplify more moving forward in this year. That's also a good indication that we need to be prepared, having our investments or even the strategy ready for those threats. If you look at the first common prediction we did in beginning of this year, in 2024, hybrid work model will be the norm. And the recent study also say this brings happiness to the employee, working from home and then using this office space together, maybe 2 days, 3 days. In Singapore, it became very normal. I think it's same in Philippines and APAC region as well. People do work 2 days from home, 2 days come to office. This pandemic, post-pandemic, this brings a new design of work and so on and so forth. When we say that, I was just saying one of the law firm got infected by being hacked by one of the attacking group, and they actually targeted VPN. Now, if you ask ourselves, a lot of organizations move the employees to work from home. The common method we use we provide them a VPN. It's the safest method. Okay, let's use it. But how many of us just use the VPN plus a zero trust together? Means zero trust means you may come to the network as a user, but I want to validate that's exactly you, who you claim to be. If you're not, then I really do not want to let you enter my network. So that's the combination that is required to handle today's situation. There's like you can say 2,000% high of attack, surge of attack that's targeted VPN devices from in 2001, because the attackers do know that many of their users have started working from home. There are attack takeover attempts going on. There are attacks that actually say, in terms of if some of your credentials gets picked up, maybe they even sweep the dark web and see if there are any compromised credentials. They can use that to launch an attack against the organization and so on and so forth. So that's that we're discussing in terms of VPN attacks. So there's required technological shift, rethinking of saying, how do I use the VPN, like one form of it, and how do I secure the access as well? And in terms of second threat prediction, ransomware seems to be on high because there is a revenue model attached to it. Ransomware, in terms of it's not something new. We see some reduction in 2023, but this is going to be staying. And double extraction became very common because in a way, double extraction means that there are ransomware attack, the double extraction, triple extraction, triple extraction happens for after ransomware attack. But double extraction may go into the field more. That's what we see in 2023 as well, where they take your data and they may sell it in the black market. And even if you pay the ransomwares the money that they demand for, it may increase the overall cost of attack, breach, recovery, and then the incident response time as well. So that we see that could be a potential norm that may go towards in 2023. So the organization need to take a look out and say how they can have a ransomware readiness test. Are they prepared and equipped to handle the ransomware attack in the next 12 months' time or moving forward? And there are instances, if you've actually seen from the ransomware as a service group, right? Like for example, REvil and Conti ransomware leaks. If you hear about this, the Conti ransomware is pretty much like a group. It's it's from Russia, and when the global geopolitical issue happened, people talking about the Conti ransomware group initially said that they pledged their support to Russia. And then there's other group from the Ukraine hackers, they go and hack into Conti ransomware group, and they publish the instant, the chat boxes of Conti ransomware group to the public. And you see that even attacking group can get attacked by different attacking group. So that's how it's getting more aggressive in terms of organized crime and cyber criminals. When we look into this Conti ransomware chat boxes as well, they operate as an enterprise business. They actually work in terms of having an employee of the month program. So they do have a profit model. Whoever used the ransomware services and launch attack against ransomware against enterprises, and and that actually demand ransom and so on and so forth. And they do have a way of having the Conti is pretty much considered as a large enterprise cyber criminal model there, and they demand they offer employee of the month, employee bonus, and they do have HR discussions, very much like an architecture, an annual revenue scheme applied to this type of attacking group. With a leak, we can discover all this information from there, right? So the double extraction is coming up. Maybe we need to be prepared to have best remediation and backup plans in place to handle the ransomware itself. The vulnerability is another aspect. As we add more security software, tools, cloud technologies, vulnerability is going to stay there. And if you don't continue to patch up the vulnerabilities, discover them, prioritize them, that's going to cause a serious impact. As I was saying, the attack that happened last day in Singapore on the law firm is actually targeting a vulnerability on Fortinet VPN. And the attacker just passed through that VPN and so on and so forth. So, and this became a norm. Everybody's target will go in there to come into the network, not through just the firewall, through the VPN devices as well. So having a continuous assessment on vulnerabilities, trying to find vulnerabilities in your network and prioritizing them, which has the most attack vectors, addressing them in a timely fashion really helps to reduce this risk as well. And people is the weakest link, I would say. I mean, we heard the best part of it is fully educated, but the social engineering phishing attack is going to be targeting users. Deepfake is coming into play to mislead users, especially when you look at ChatGPT. One of the training model when we say, or even when we educate users to say, hey guys, look out for phishing emails when you run phishing campaigns, because commonly these phishing links come from different countries. And English may not be the native language for them. So the grammatical errors, look out for those things. Although it looked like a legitimate email, check this out. And there are high chances that could be a phishing email. Now with the ChatGPT AI, the attacker could potentially use ChatGPT to generate the phishing emails with the proper English, and then they can put it back into a campaign and to run it, which is going to be a little hard to detect. So there will be more things that's going to come into social engineering, phishing human credentials, passwords, and so on. So there is a cloud technologies. On the other hand, we move a lot of apps. You can say COVID triggered digital transformation, post transformation. So, and then in terms of cloud service providers, some of assets goes into Azure, some goes to AWS, and let's say Google Cloud. How are you maintaining the security posture of these assets that we move into? Are they really risky? Are there any misconfiguration issues? This is going to create a big challenge for organization, quickly adapt and evolve in terms of moving applications and apps into the cloud. So that could be a challenge. I mean, unless you have some level of assessment towards cloud and inventory all those assets that you have, look for the prioritization of security controls that you need to place in the cloud. Then you can switch the game to say, how can I move my digital transformation as part of security being focus of it? So you can assess your cloud assets periodically, prioritize the risk, and continue to fix them as the business evolves into the cloud technology. Industry regulations, we also see that as picking up as part of it. I think in Philippines is more common. There's a lot of manufacturing plant, OT environment, and they may adapt more new technologies. A shortage of skill set is there, but in terms of vulnerabilities, in terms of security monitoring, and there are a lot of convergence of IT and OT is happening. So how I'm going to monitor the IT and OT together to have monitoring the attack that originates from IT and moving into OT and coming from targeting those OT boxes that's not patched up. How do we have this visibility or centralized SOC performance in terms of handling both? That should be coming up as well. So that's something we may look out for. So knowing all the security factors is not like a scary things, right? So it's all there coming up. We can predict that's all coming up. I picked up a few points there: vulnerabilities, phishing campaigns, ransomwares, IT/OT convergence, and so on and so forth. And of course, what are the preparedness of the organization that happens today? Are they ready to handle those attacks? Do they need additional budget or additional planning, additional strategy, additional visibility to handle that, right? So many organizations, when they go into security itself, when we see that, maybe if I move digital transformations, when I expand my organization, adding more security tool does not mean I'm secure. It's like I'm buying 10 different insurance policy and I can claim that I'm very healthy. It doesn't make sense unless it's all integrated. Tell me what's going on in my network, how much risk I have. I can quantify the risk, and then I can take informed decisions or assume breach and so on and so forth, right? So changing from a false sense of security towards a security that helps you to really be efficient, at the same time more simple. If your security architecture is more complex, that's where the attacker will target through, right? Having multiple tools doesn't help if it is not able to operationalize it. So that's something we see our organization will shift from just point solutions towards the platforms-based architecture and so on and so forth, right? So that's one of the predictions we see that's going to move. And you may hear as terms like cyber mesh, as organizations would actually move into meshed architecture in terms of tools. So they want each of the security solutions to talk to each other and tell them what they detect in the perimeter, as it really affected in the endpoint, what they see in the endpoint and see in on the network side of it. Do they receive this email from phishing? How they connect all these dots? Unless if it's in platform-based architecture that can connect this dots, simplify this integration data points, it's very hard to identify in timely fashion. Looking at the perspective of attacker, they are exchanging threats, merging and adding more codes, making it more powerful, and being a SaaS services, enterprise need to keep up in terms of handling the threats and measuring outcomes. So the tools, instead of going into tools, having a full sense of security, moving towards a platform really helps the organization as well. So I covered the threads, the best practices that we can actually employ to bring it together. But again, in terms of TrendMicro, so what are we doing to help organizations and enterprises to handle that? We have been talking to organizations since the beginning saying, hey, don't go with the point solution. Being a strategist, if you want to strategize yourself in terms of your enterprise architecture or your SOC, try to integrate the data point, right? And then try to make sense of. So if you integrate a data point, you can see which entry point my attack is coming through, what is the status of the attack, and what are the next actions I can take. For example, one of the key vectors we see in last year, if you compare the attack, there's about, you can say 83% in any form of attack, identity is being involved, identity compromise. For example, as we attack, people move to work from home, the attackers start looking into how to take over the user identity. And then take an action, and then try to bypass the security mechanism with a legitimate ID and so on. So monitoring identity of user, Active Directory, your directory services became very important. And we talked about OT-IT convergence, how we can actually connect the OT data along with IT and monitor them how the attack is playing between the IT and OT environment, and to take an automation response playbooks in play. Unless we automate tasks, it's very hard to keep up with the attackers, the speed the attack and the complexity of attack is evolving, right? So how do I automate this? Unless we consolidate some of the tools, consolidate the data lake of the tools, make the data speak to us, what's going on before the attack, after the attack, during the attack, and you'll be able to quickly automate the response there. So TrendMicro is helping customers towards the direction, having a unified platform as well. And that's how this data format works. Majority of the enterprises looking at the complexity of attacks and of course the global calamity we're going through in terms of geopolitical issues. There are state-sponsored attackers, there are activists, there are people who are just money motivated. Unless my security is simplified and going at the speed that I can handle and direct the threats, it's going to be very difficult. But at the same time, if I adapt this new technology, I can't just keep increasing people and headcount. So I want to have a technology that helps me to bring this visibility, simplify the direction. So TrendMicro XDR platform performs this job in a way to simplifying the direction, pre-triaging those attacks, okay, where the attack has come from, how does it land, what it is doing right now based on the XDR platform, and simplify that alert escalation, sending the high priority to the analyst so that he can focus and prioritize on the right alert and respond to the attack much faster. So we extend the framework from there and say how we can bring in other tools and the telemetries into it. We talked about identity and people picking up credentials from dark web and using the credentials against the enterprise. So TrendMicro platform, as we talked about platform, we have our native sensors, but we also integrate with the customer Active Directories, try to pull the identity, scan the dark web, see if there any identity is compromised for the enterprises, and give them a heads up. They are compromised identity found in the dark web. Before it's been used to launch an attack against the organization, please proactively prevent them. So one way is reactive, try to find the attack, identify the attack, apply automation, respond to an attack much faster fashion to reduce it. That's reactive, but that's good enough. That's not good enough. You want to move ahead and say, how can I proactively find the weakness and risk that I have for my assets, identities, and so on and so forth? Then bringing them together will make a bigger sense. And of course, these are some techniques, and I'm not sure the audience has both the technical and so on, so it's a broad audience. I can say these are different type of phases that attack will go through. But again, we can map them on, say, what type of stages of attack is going through in an organization, and then you can map them up together. Right? This is already part of the platform. So that's the platform-based architecture, as we're seeing, that we see the organizations moving towards, where they use a single console to manage the endpoint, email, network, cloud workload, to prevent the solutions at the same time, perform hunting operations, and proactively responding to those attacks, automating this response as well. But talking about a use case for customers to achieve this, it happens for many organizations here, and we continue to do with the organization. Within months' time, be able to achieve this outcome. Well, if you don't go within platform-based architecture with us, or even your own research on different tools, it takes years for the organization to achieve the same outcome. So what we're trying to do in the platform, we pre-integrate the tools, we minimize the required effort to integrate, make the solution work, run the orchestration triaging. We're minimizing all this process in the platform so that you can start measuring the outcome once you have a platform in place. I know it's a little bit of TrendMicro, but that's the strategy or the platforms or the vision that most of the organization maturing going towards to address the latest threats that we're seeing today. So wrapping up, I'm in the last few part of the slide. Where I'm saying these are solutions we talked about, have third-party leadership quadrants, assessed, validated. We also do bug bounty programs in terms of identifying vulnerabilities on different devices and have pre-disclosures and disclosures with the vendors. So the sources we discussed in terms of attacks, landscape, what's coming in 2023, that's all backing from a research team. It's spread across globally. And of course, we have an established customer base, so feedback loop comes from there as well. So that's pretty much I have for today. We can open Q&A and discussions so far. And it's Friday evening, so we can have a very relaxed, chill down discussions as well. Back to you guys.
Okay, Munju, thank you very much for that very enlightening, structured, and very information-rich presentation. I really appreciate it. Before I make my comment on your presentation, let's greet first some of our regular viewers who are here today. So nabati ko na si Albert Remo nandyan. Albert, good afternoon. Thank you for watching. Si Ray Suarez, bago to. Thank you for accepting my invite to watch Kwentuhang Cybersecurity. We have also some guests from Cebu. I see someone from Cebu. Rose Pharmacy, Ray, Casper, good afternoon sa'yo. Salamat sa panonood. I hope hindi umuulan dyan sa Cebu. Meron din tayo si Sam Santos. Ito, lagi ko nakikita to. Of course, si Francis Gonda. Good afternoon, bro. President Alan is here as well. President Alan, good afternoon. Meron tayong bago. Greetings from Attorney Coach Sayad-Shairon. I hope nasa ibang bansa siguro to. Medyo foreigner yung name. And then may iba pang question. Edie Arlene, baka gusto mong batiin yung iba. Si BP Carms, nandito rin. Hi, BP
Yes,
Carms.
I saw Sir Homer from Fortinet. Ano to isa sa mga allies natin aside from TRENDMICRO. Very tightly knit ang community ng cybersecurity, not only within the Philippines but the whole world. So walang competition, we're all good here. So magandang hapon, and thank you for showing your support not only to TRENDMICRO but also to with our Kwentuhang Cybersecurity with the PIX Pro. So sino ba
Friend ko rin from PNP, Don John Cruz. Thank you for watching, bro. Nandyan, nakita ko yung friend ko from PNP. Nanonood din sa atin.
Sir Nan, hindi ka pa late. Walang late sa cybersecurity. There's always time.
Okay. So Arlene, I just want to give my feedback dun sa presentation ni Mujo, no? So I like the way Mujo presented it. So he started with the risk, right? So yung attack surface, the rising complexity. Then this is true. I like the point that you said that organizations right now are very aware that in the next 12 months, they will be hit by a cyber attack. So that means the awareness worldwide in terms of in the landscape of cybersecurity, they said it's no longer a question if you're going to be breached or how, but only when. So all of our organizations who are here, they are aware that somewhere, sometime, they are going to be hit by a breach. So you need to prepare. Then I like the point that Mujo mentioned that the real challenge in cybersecurity right now is operationalizing the practice, right? So you can have all the technology that you want, right? The Rolls-Royce of technology, name it, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not able to operationalize the practice, you will not be successful in cybersecurity. And that's true, Mojo, with our experience of Mr. Chair, when we were running the PLDT Group cybersecurity operation, he is very particular on the operations, right? He's very particular on the operations. And finally, Mojo presented, of course, TRENDMICRO. Sa mga ka-PIX Pro natin dito who are in the corporate, TRENDMICRO, I was surprised because I know TRENDMICRO before as only an antivirus, right? So I don't know that the portfolio expanded. They have a complete end-to-end solution for visibility and response. And you know, guys, you could take a look at TRENDMICRO if you are considering to fortify your cybersecurity in your organization. Okay, Edie Arlene?
Yes, that's very true. And the good thing about TRENDMICRO is you're also offering, you're not limiting the technology within the TRENDMICRO itself, but also you're utilizing the other third-party solutions, which makes this more holistic. However, Sir Mujo, if it's okay if I ask some questions about your presentation, this is very meaty, very malaman. So,
Sure,
sir,
yes, please go ahead.
Yes, one of the things that I've noticed with your presentation is in terms of the cyber attack, the Asian region is more prominent in terms of statistics. What could attribute it to such facts? Why the attacks is more concentrated in the Asian region other than the other regions within the global scheme?
So you were talking about the survey of the 82% survey
Yes.
respondents said they're not prepared. I guess in Asia, so this was again a survey against 1,300 plus IT security directors and across the region in APAC. It's the time we take to do a digital transformation in last 3 years was quite fast and across the region. They've really moved ahead and we have been challenged to really go into that sphere. It was not a phased approach; it was a pretty quick approach, and the organization was not prepared to say, with this digital transformation, cybersecurity is part of it. So when we put this question across, it's not just one part of question and say, we even ask this questions in a way that, does your business leaders see cybersecurity as a competitive advantage? And many respondents say no. So this is not only technological shift, this is also psychological shift that need to happen in the APAC region, where the business and board start saying cybersecurity is my business continuity plan. I need to make sure it's really running there. So that's why I can see the respondent was high in terms of his presentation, where we all move to technology-wise, digital-wise, but how we can move along cybersecurity together. That's the biggest reason I would say.
Yeah. Maybe I could interject to your question also, 𝐼𝐮𝐭. So I was observing that as well in some of the surveys that I'm seeing also. So I think the main reason really why Asia Pacific is higher than the other region, I think Asia Pacific is an emerging region. So most of the new deployment in terms of technology, name it 5G, IoT, multi-cloud, and as mentioned by Muju, this new technology, adapting to this new technology, open up a greater attack surface, new attack surface, larger amount of vulnerabilities, right? So the transition period between a legacy technology to a new technology opens up that attack surface. I think for me, that's the reason, aside from what Muju has mentioned. So tingin din tayo ng mga question. Let's involve our audience, no? Baka may questions sa chat, 𝐼𝐮𝐿, let's see.
Let's look po. Well, so far, they're interested in exploring the topics involved about cybersecurity. Some of the audiences here are interested in exploring network engineering, while malware forensic. Si Sir Sam Santos nagsasabi, marami po, kasi very broad ang cybersecurity eh. So it could come into, sabi nga kanina ni VP Alex, okay, this is just one aspect of cybersecurity that we are looking. So we are looking at cybersecurity operations. However, in terms of the whole concept, the whole landscape of cybersecurity, napakalawak, napakarami. But cybersecurity operations, I believe, is the heart and soul of cybersecurity. So ito yung dapat isa sa mga pino-fortify natin as part of our competency, as part of the technology, as part of the solutions that we are offering to the people and to our clients. So far, wala pa silang tanong, sir. More on the comments, more on expressing interest.
There's an interesting comment, no? Si kay Sam Santos, I want to highlight this comment. She gave the position, network engineer, malware forensic, cloud security. But she said she will choose malware forensic. I totally agree with you, Sam, because there is a stat now that's saying that malware is the #1 global problem in terms of cybersecurity. So I think based on experience, 2018, when Chairman and I are in the PLDT group, we are only receiving DDoS attack, network layer attack. But came 2020, during the pandemic, the attack shifted from network layer to ransomware. For whatever reason, maybe because everyone works online, you are not protected by your corporate environment, the malware is easily deployed, and the payload is easily inserted to the system, right? So I agree with you. If you want to consider malware forensic, go for it. It will be hit, or it will be big in the next 3 to 5 years. So how about you, Eka? Naomi, what's your point about this conversation? Do you have any idea or anything you want to share with our audience in terms of how 𝐷RENDMICRO is helping the organizations in the Philippines?
Sige, ako muna, sir. So when it comes to technologies kasi, 𝐷RENDMICRO, as you have shared earlier, sobrang dami na naming technologies. And as you can see, we are not just catering a simple layer of protection, but we are catering the whole. So that's why you've heard about Muto saying about platform-based. So it doesn't, parang ang security kasi yung mindset din natin, most of the time, mindset ng organization is, if I have so many tools, then I am secured. But it doesn't equate on that. Hindi ibig sabihin marami kang tools, you are actually secured. Most of the time, when it comes to different tools, they are overlapping, hindi sila nag-integrate. So that's why operational wise, it's hard for the people that actually doing the managing and as well as threat hunting on their organization. And because of that, the mean time to detect and mean time to respond is actually bridging a gap. So sobrang laki nung gap na yon when it comes to threats, diba? And when it comes to security, the way that we are measuring it, if we are successful, is if we have the lesser time to detect the threats and as well as lesser time to respond, then the impact will actually be lessened. So because of that, we in TrendMicro, we actually trying to provide customer this type of tools or platforms that will help them to lessen the mean time to detect and as well as the mean time to respond. And if you'd like to deep dive more on the risk itself, so how risky you are on your environment, how risky is your organization when it comes to attack, then the platform actually can actually do that. So yan yung help na ginagawa naman ni TrendMicro on innovating of how we can help our customers to partner with them on providing and building security for their organization. So yun.
Great point, Jessica. I just wanted to circle back on the point on the malware research analyst, one of the key problem statement. I just shared the link that actually talks about, if you click it, it say, click your cybersecurity risk, calculate your cybersecurity risk. There are questions that covers APT attack, malware attack, DDoS attack, and how prepared are they to handle these attacks? So these are the questions. So the attack landscape evolved, as Sir said, it's just evolved in multiple directions. Not only a network level, email, network, cloud, external attack, internal attack, insider threat, identity attack, it just goes beyond that. Now, as Jessica pointed out, bringing all this into a context, key point, how fast can I detect the attack? How fast can I respond to the attack? As you mentioned, this makes a difference that is your investment really working for you or it's just an investment, right? So whatever investment you made, at the point of time, if you're having a breach, I want to quickly know how much has been attacked, what has been attacked, what should I respond next? If this data doesn't answer to you, the investment is really waste. So that's where we move them up all to the platform, and that makes sense. So Naomi, you want to say something? To you, Naomi.
Yeah, thanks, Mutu. So I'm just gonna pick up from what VP Alex mentioned a while ago about well, they know right now the TrendMicro is not only about antivirus, right? Because way back years ago, we were only antivirus, but now we have a lot of solutions from, of course, the endpoint, the server, email, IoT, cloud, and all of that, and as well as the platform, the visibility. So TrendMicro, as a 35 years company, cybersecurity company, so we evolve as the threats evolve. So that's why we have created all of these solutions. No, so and then when it comes to being attacked, so it's like that's your immune system. No, so it's like we're all gonna get sick. So it's a matter of ano ba yung immunity mo when you're being hit with that sickness. How capable are you to handle those sickness? No, and another analogy that I would like to share when it comes to protection and then the visibility. So we have a house. So in our house, we have all of that's where our loved ones are there. All of the information, all of the special people about us, they're all in there. So you protect them, you lock them up, you put the perimeter, you provide them vitamins and all that. And now that the attackers or the criminals, they know that you have protection. So what they're gonna continuously do or discover all of the things that they can penetrate, right? So other than putting protection, or making yourself equipped to all of these attackers, you also have this visibility. Para pag nangyari yon, if something happens, you know what's gonna happen, where did it come in, so you can properly address that later on. And then to address as well the question of VP Alex pertaining to what are the initiatives of TrendMicro in the Philippines. So TrendMicro, as mentioned a while ago, 2,000 of the 7,000 global employees of TrendMicro are here in the Philippines. So it composed of threat researchers, yung support engineers. So continuously, TrendMicro are helping in the organization, such as school. So TrendMicro goes to every school to train and then to encourage the students to go into cybersecurity because we're lacking this skill set, no? So to answer some of the questions as well that I've seen sa chat. So in TrendMicro, we don't really have like a requirement, no? If you are passionate, if you are there, like you're passionate to making the world safe to digital, to exchanging information, and you, of course, you wanted to learn, you're always welcome with TrendMicro. So just go onto our website and check all of the openings there, and you can always apply. So there's no really like a prerequisite or a requirement to being in cybersecurity. Yeah.
I have a very interesting question for you, Mojo, because you discuss everything from
Alex, sorry to cut you, but it's Muto. No, we're just nagugutom kami every time we hear Mojo. It's like shaking.
Muto.
Yeah, Muto.
My colleagues were texting me, "Hey man, you got a new name." So I said, "Sure, as long as it works."
Sorry, Muto. Sorry.
No problem.
I have a very interesting question because we tackle about the risk, the prevention, the detection, etc., and how we will respond. Eka is pointing out of the response. Now, I have a question for you in terms of protecting from the unknown, because right now they're saying we have to know the unknowns in cybersecurity. So how does TrendMicro able to detect or to prevent the unknown in terms of cybersecurity?
Right. So we can classify unknown into few parts, right? Let's say when you take unknown, it could be, I think the question is mostly coming from the backdrop of malwares and viruses and so on and so forth. I'm assuming that. And we had it for long back. I mean, we had sandboxes, we have signatureless directions that actually pick up those files, look at the behavior of the file, and they can say this is unknown in terms part of signature, but then based on the behavior, this is malicious. And then we can put them into actions to block them, contain them, and so on and so forth. The reputation of the file can get updated quickly, so anyone else receive the same thing, they will have flagged. So that's how we handle the unknown in terms of files and ransomware. But today, the unknown is not only on the file level. That is pretty much handled with the endpoint solution, sandbox solutions, behavior monitoring solutions. The unknown is I have a lot of digital assets. I have a lot of resources. Like, for example, let me ask this question. Today in my organization, I may have 3,000, 4,000 employees today. And you walk into an organization and there is a news about data breach. And you want to know how many of these user account is compromised today, as of now. That's unknown. I may not even know. I may not able to quantify it. So that visibility is still unknown. We can bring the visibility for organization as well. At the same time, you can walk in and say, after the breach, how many of the assets is been compromised? What's going on? That's an unknown topic point. So we can bring them across to that. So what can I respond first? Which one should I prioritize? These are the many unknowns that's making cybersecurity a bigger task for the organization to make it work, not just the file level. So those are tools. How are we going to make these tools to work for you so that you can actually measure the outcome, handle the unknowns in terms of visibility, handle the unknowns in terms of threats, handle the unknowns in terms of response time, and so on and so forth.
Very good. Thank you, Moto, for the clarification. Baka may mga tanong, involve natin yung mga guests natin.
Maybe Alex, for me, last na lang po for Sir Muthu and for the team TrendMicro. So with the pandemic, it has opened us a new perspective, a new concept on working. So we have the concept of work from home. So on TrendMicro, what do you think in terms of cybersecurity posture, what is the best approach? Should we be more offensive or defensive? Or should we be more proactive or reactive? Because like what I've said before, the cybersecurity, it's not limited anymore within the companies, within the organization. Even those who are working from home, or even the students, are cybersecurity is everybody's concern. So what in TrendMicro, what do you suggest we do as our posture for cybersecurity?
So great question. So you can't just depend on reactive approach. Reactive approach can be multifold. Be it EDR, XDR, that's pretty much reactive approach, try to handle it. And there's a proactive approach that actually helps you to tell you, okay, these are the risks that you have. These are the indicators. Let's say if you go back to the medical report, these are the indications that you have that you want to really take action to make sure you're healthy, your organization is healthy, you are healthy, so act now. But if you keep these two siloed, proactive direction and visibility siloed, and then your actions and reactions, reactive approach to the issues as a siloed is a big problem. So what we see, you need to have a proactive approach, you need to have a reactive approach, automation, speeds, visibility, and so on, and you have to combine both. And in a hybrid mode. So when you bring that proactive, reactive together, you can keep up with the game. So that's what we actually tell organizations, say, assume breach. You will be breached for sure. It's just a matter of time, as we discussed, right? Assume breach, and when you are breached, are you ready? Do you have the visibility? Do you have the tools? Do you have the methods? Do you have the plan? Do you have the incident response plan, and so on and so forth? And we help our organization to educate that as well.
Flexibility is the key. Resiliency is the key in cybersecurity.
Cyber resilience is a big thing. It's a very big thing that's coming up. So how resilient are you? So this is not about saying, okay, my server is down. It's about, is my business is down? Because when your business is all digitalized, if anything on cyber means your business is going down for a couple of days, that equates to a cost reduction, cost loss to a business as well.
One cyber
Yes, Miss Arlene.
business is
So-
down.
So parang Miss Arlene, to
Yes,
add to
Miss
what
Arlene.
Mutu said, that we should always, our mindset should be not if we will be attacked, but when we will be attacked. So that's how our mindset should be.
Yep. So there's a question here from JB Castillo, Motu. Oh, am I correct, Naomi? Motu.
Mutu. Yes. Yeah.
So how can we easily adapt our business using MITRE? I think he's talking about the MITRE framework. What will be our basic steps to follow? That's a question.
Fantastic question. So I think for other audience, MITRE framework have many methods that actually tells the different attack techniques. Tactics means technique means the type they're going to use. Tactics is pretty much like how they applied objective of the attack, and the procedures, how they use these procedures together, right? So they might bring this in multiple formats, different techniques, tactics, and procedures, and that continue to add as the attack evolves. At the same time, there's also different techniques, means based on the risk exposure you have, you can have a MITRE different metrics that can say how much measurement you have and how much is going to reduce it. Where do we start with this? I would say, talking out of the context of TRENDMICRO, maybe you can look at MITRE heat map. These are my defense mechanisms I have, and these are the attack surfaces I've seen observed so far. Where is my heat map looks like as an assessment? And in order to address this heat map, what are the tools and techniques and the data sources I need to include, and then start enhancing your strategy moving forward. So in TRENDMICRO, as we use these solutions, we went through MITRE evaluations of ourselves with our tools. There's a report on that. In terms of reductions and tactics and techniques, as you see in the previous slide, we mapped them to the MITRE framework. So that you can use as a reference point. What kind of tactics and techniques? When you say tactics is objective, techniques is the method they use it, right? So then you can see what are the tactics and techniques that is common in my organization, and then you can reflect back, do I have the right tools and techniques to handle them? So that you can starting point can maybe this heat map of the MITRE, and from there you can stretch and say what you've seen in the organization, how you want to evolve from there as a measurement map.
Thank you, Mutu. And to add to that, we also use that MITRE framework. I think that's a very good framework when we were starting the cybersecurity operation for PLDT. So I agree with Mutu. It highlights already the techniques and procedure that could be used against you. You map the tools that are in there. And then, of course, again, I'll go back. So frameworks are okay, but do not have a false sense of security, as Eka mentioned, that if you have a preventive and detective tools in your organization already or in your infrastructure, you are already 100% secure. We are suggesting here in PIX Pro and as best practice in cybersecurity that you need to move the needle from merely preventive and detective reactive cybersecurity to a predictive and responsive proactive cybersecurity. So there's a comment here coming from one of our viewer, Pedoy Jr. He said, better to have a proactive cybersecurity approach. I totally agreed to that. And if you can achieve that using or fortifying your predictive and responsive capability, meaning even before the threat came into your infrastructure, you know it because you have a threat intelligence doing that. And responsive is how can you respond when an attack happened to your organization. So that's it, okay? I hope we answer your question, mga ka-Pix Pro, ha? Kung may question pa, just throw in the question.
For cybersecurity, being paranoid is a good thing because we can never we should always be expected that there's always the next big attack coming. So cybersecurity, being paranoid is highly encouraged. We have to do that.
Yeah, to
Yes.
add there, Arlene, if you can visualize what's gonna happen, what's the worst, it's better. So you can get ready and prepare for that.
Okay, there's a comment from our friend, Sunny Lapu. Sunny, good afternoon, bro. Thank you for watching, ha? I like your comment. So Sunny said, I think best practice approach should start from a comprehensive assessment where the output is used to build the applicable framework, reference architecture, strategy, relevant and of value to the business, given the complexity of cybersecurity solution, capabilities being offered by so many vendors today. All are good, but the question is, which one are the best to my business? Great topic. Okay, thank you, Sunny, for that wonderful comment.
Thank you, sir. That's true.
Okay, nako, 6 o'clock na, no? I mean,
Ganda kasi ng topic.
yeah, we can talk. Ako rin, ganun ako eh. When I talk about cybersecurity, I could talk all day, no? But syempre, mga ka-Pix Pro, it's already 6 o'clock. I know it's Friday. I hope you have a great session. So let's just wrap it up and have a final words from our technology partner Trends. Maybe we start from you, Mutu. What can you say to our viewers as an advice and your final message?
Fantastic. And yeah, thanks for staying back on the Friday evening. And again, as a final message, I would say, try to simplify security, not the efficiency, but simplify in terms of identifying an attack, prioritizing an attack, directing and acting proactively towards that. That will be the best use case to handle the advanced attacks and threats that's targeting enterprises. And that's pretty much from me. I hope you're going to have a great weekend, and I'm going to pass to the next speaker here. Jessica, you want to say something?
Yeah, so for me, of course, cyber resilience, that's number one right now. And for those for the activity wanted to know, so I'm looking at the chats, they're asking about training. So just watch also, there's website of TrendMicro and FB, there's a career, there's TrendMicro Career Philippines that you can check. We are posting their trainings, and it's free, it's open to everyone. It might be virtual, it might be a trend lab, so just watch over there. And of course the opening, so yeah, for job posting, it's all in there.
That's nice, Naomi. So yeah, for me, last words on this session, that when it comes to security, again, don't fool yourself that everything that you have will actually secure you. You need to be able to know the process. You need to be able to know how they are able to attack you. And even so that you already have tools, know that you have still risk on your environment because of your assets. Especially ngayon, nasa labas tayo lahat, mas mataas ang risk. And because of that, again, if you would like to learn more about security and be part of TrendMicro itself, ayan, sabi ka ni Naomi, we have also careers for that. And lastly, when it comes to cyber skill sets, so we also offer trainings, and we also do it on university. So that's why if you are our audience and you're a student, just inquire then, kasi baka mamaya nandun din kami sa schools nyo. So yeah, thank you. And thank you again for this kwentuhang cybersecurity on Pix Pro.
Thank you.
Okay, for my part, I think they've all said it na. But again, we'd like to thank Pix Pro for inviting us sa kwento for this KC, and I believe we have many more. So we look forward to sharing more of our thoughts and information in our next KCs.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So for me, again, before I thank you again, TrendMicro, for hosting this Kwentuhang Cyber today. Mutu, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. For me, mga ka-Pix Pro, again, as always, no, we encourage the mindset of paranoia and vigilance wherever, even in your personal life, in your corporate life. So that what's make you safe in this ever-evolving cyber threat and landscape. Edie Arlene.
Yes. Also for our trainings and for our seminars, everything's related cybersecurity. We are partnering with TRENDMICRO and bringing to the Filipino youth, to the Filipino professionals, the top-notch training that we have together with our ever-reliable technology partners. So kasama natin si TRENDMICRO sa ating mission to create more and more cybersecurity professionals for the nation, for the Philippines, and for the entire world. So asahan niyo mga ka-PIX Pro na hindi ito yung huling pagkikita natin, makakasama pa natin ng TRENDMICRO. Sir Muso, hopefully again you would grace our Kwentuhang Cybersecurity one Friday of the coming months, and this is definitely would not be the last. So thank you very much po for sa pagpapaunlak nyo sa aming Kwentuhang Cybersecurity for this very beautiful Friday evening. So sir,
Okay, as we always close the cybersecurity, baka na-miss nyo to ako, na-miss ko to, ngayon ko lang ulit masasabi to. So happy Friday again to every one of you mga ka-PIX Pro sa cybersecurity. Happy lang,
walang weekend.
Thank you guys.
Happy mga ka-PIX Pro. Thank you, Ms.
Happy
Naomi.
Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Friday.
Check out